My journey really started with a photograph that was taken by Finbar O'Reilly. His story covering the day that 4 of us were wounded. They're the only reason I can remember the worst day of my life. Those photos helped me come to terms with my own experiences, and they helped me find closure in my own injuries. One day when I was in therapy, my therapist handed me a notebook and told me to write. That notebook turned into a letter to Finbar thanking him for his photos, and then that wound up getting published with the New York Times and showed the world what his photographs did for me and my Marines.
I was reading a war blog in the New York Times, and I saw a piece by Thomas Brennan. And I felt that I wanted to help him somehow, and I just contacted him out of the blue, and I found out he was starting this organization called the War Horse.
Right now, no newsroom exists to cover the largest issues that are facing the military and veteran community, and the War Horse is determined to fill that void. We made the deliberate decision to make our first story a killed in action profile. It was about Staff Sergeant Javier Ortiz Rivera. It was a death overseas that really shook our unit to its core. We're not going to have the conversation we need to be having about war until we talk about the human impact that war has.
And he said, "Hi, Mommy." He said, "Am I going home early?" And at first I thought he was going to surprise me by coming home. And I said, "No, buddy, I need you to sit here with me for a second."
When I was wounded in combat, it wasn't just me as an infantryman that had been hurt. My mother was hurt by me being hurt in combat. War almost drove my wife and I apart. I've lost Marines to suicide, and I think that all of that was captured within Javier's story. Our next story after Javier's was writing about a Medal of Honor recipient who had jumped on a grenade and survived.
I had already been through, say, 20 surgeries. I knew I had 20 or so to go, and I knew I was going to be in the hospital for 3 years.
The overwhelming response that we received was that people found hope.
I've had Marines come up to me and tell me, "I didn't kill myself because of your story, because of you."
Since 2016, our team has educated the public on military service, war and its impact by ensuring those most affected by war have a prominent voice in the national conversation.
The veterans who write for the War Horse bring in expertise, and they're also bringing courage, because you need to sometimes tell stories that expose abuses and problems.
We turn now to a growing scandal in the U.S. Marine Corps.
The photos and more than 2,500 comments were uncovered by the War Horse.
I happened to stumble upon the Facebook group while I was sitting next to my daughter on the couch, and I couldn't ignore it. We broke it with Center for Investigative Reporting. It was our first investigation.
How can I look to the Marine to the right and to the left of me and sit there and wonder, were you one of the ones who said you wanted to rape me?
Around 6 weeks after our reporting, revenge pornography in the military became illegal. There was a unanimous vote in the House of Representatives to criminalize revenge porn in the military. We truly crossed the aisle with our reporting and filled the empathy gap in a way that allowed for true change to take place. So this is our 4th writing seminar. This time it's for combat medics and corpsmen, and it creates a safe space for them to be honest about their experiences and hopefully write something that will allow one of our readers to connect with their story and feel less alone in the long run. They are volunteering their time to be here. Pulitzer Prize winning journalists, you're going to meet bureau chiefs. They believe that you have a story to share that's worth telling and that's worth people reading.
I'm writing about sexual assault. Ultimately, my goal is to empower other people and myself.
I'm writing a story about experiencing my first mass casualty, and now met Adam, who his story is about the same incident.
He was one of a bunch of guys that got killed, and I put him on the helicopter, and where he went was to her.
They switched me out on a convoy, and the medic that had been there for 3 weeks got hit with the VBID.
You have value. You all have value. You've done remarkable things in your lives that very few people can understand.
I've had the good fortune to be involved in 3 of the seminars as a coach and a mentor to some of the veterans. The group that's here this week, they have survivor's guilt, but they've helped save people's lives. And by telling their stories, they're healing each other, but also these stories are relevant to a broader society.
And you feel alone, and you feel like, wow, like how do I even explain what I just went through, what I just saw?
Writing's given me freedom. It's the things that hold you back. I really want it to be something bigger than myself.
People who read them or see them or listen to them begin to understand what it's like to be in the service. And some do become professional writers or authors. So that is a really unique element of the War Horse.
What Thomas and what the War Horse are doing by giving this generation of veterans a voice and by actually educating people on the true cost of war is priceless.